Hey guys, Devin Gridley, All Father Fitness, and tomorrow is the day that my gym finally opens back up. So in honor of that, I'm going to be making a video explaining the 5 mistakes I made when I first joined the gym. And I feel like this is going to be a pretty important video because this is kind of what my entire channel is about, is either making sure people that are new to the gym don't make mistakes, or giving people examples of either myself or other people making mistakes and giving you ways to fix it so you don't have to go through that, and you can get the best or most optimal and best training the fastest. You don't have to go through all these mistakes. You're probably going to make mistakes, which is unfortunate, but it's kind of just the way life is, and because of mistakes you learn from them. But if you're able to skip some of the more like minor inconvenient ones and just get to your goal faster, I believe that's very reasonable, and I believe that it's completely possible. So let's just jump right into this. The first mistake I made when joining the gym was not learning enough. And I know that's probably a pretty crazy one to hear to some people because it seems like I know a lot. I make YouTube videos, and I research stuff. I look at videos. I look at actual researches, and I read them, and I make videos on them about different supplements and drugs and how fat is lost this way or that way, different diets, all that stuff. But really, there's a direct correlation between how much you know in the gym, like actual practical knowledge, as well as uh, scientific knowledge like I have, and your ability to put on muscle faster and lose weight faster. And I don't need some scientific study to pull that up. I'm sure it's just common knowledge that the more you know about lifting, like either it being how to lift and knowing yourself and things like your weight, your repage, your how many sets, you have a built program like that. And that's what I mean is, if you don't have good form, obviously you're not going to have better training than someone who has good form. So learning things like good form, learning that you lose weight through a calorie deficit, learning that you need protein and energy and water to build muscle, like that video I made. Things like that are very important because if you don't know those things, you're not going to get where you want to go fast enough. So learn about the important things. You don't need to learn things like some of the super minor things I've made videos about, like V-Shred's product. It doesn't actually boost your testosterone or burn fat, or whatever the video I made on brown adipose tissue. You don't need to know things that are so minuscule in the fitness industry, things like that. But knowing things, like I said, good form, that's a basic. Knowing things like how to make your own program and kind of form it to how you want it to be so it's more optimally for you, things like that. And how to build muscle more optimally through being anabolic and just having a lot of protein, and just things like that. Things like that are really important. But that gets me into my next thing, is not enough protein. If I had, when I first started the gym, or not when I first started, but when I started my basically incline, where it's basically been a little bit over a year now that I started the gym, and I went every single day for an entire year. I didn't have like any breaks besides this quarantine, obviously, but in that time frame, it was only the last few months that I started really learning about everything, as well as eating enough protein. I did not eat nearly enough protein. As I ate probably a half to 75% of the amount of protein I needed every single day, if that. That's like absolute maximum, 75%. And basically I made the discovery of French toast. Greg Doucette's anabolic French toast. I ate about like 4 pieces every single day. And I started putting on mass like crazy. I jumped like 6 pounds in a couple months, and no, I wasn't just fat. A lot of people were like, oh, if you do a big jump like that, it's just all fat. It wasn't. I actually got leaner. I could start to see a little line in between my 6th to 8th ab, or like pack of abs or whatever. And when this quarantine hit, I basically put a bunch of fat on. I've been trying to cut it off. It's a little bit more difficult, but it's all good. Next thing is injuring myself. Now, I injured myself 2 times. If you don't know, I had a whole like fitness story of how I got into fitness and what I did, what I didn't do, how I got injured, and I'll link it up right here and down in the description. But basically, I was doing a bench press max or something, and I tore my shoulder, and it would have been it wasn't a really bad tear. It was just enough to where it was just a little bit more difficult to lift weight. I could do really light, but I couldn't go probably above 75% of what my max would be. So that was kind of unfortunate, but the thing was is that I wanted to heal really fast, so I kept hurting it over and over. Just not really bad, but every chest day or shoulder day or whatever, I would go into the gym and I'd just lift a little bit too heavy and I'd pinch it or something, and I just hurt it more and more, and it just got worse and worse and worse until one day for like a month straight I just didn't even hit chest at all. Didn't hit chest or shoulders, and then it was fine after that. I haven't had a single problem with it at all. So and the other way I injured myself was one time I did a max squat in football, I believe, and I tore my abdomen, and every time I went and did a max squat, I would re-tear it, because apparently tore abdomens just don't heal after forever. Hopefully after this quarantine it completely healed, because I haven't been doing any crazy movement like that. I haven't felt a tear or anything like that, so that's good. But making sure not to ego lift and injure yourself is very important, because if you injure yourself, you have to take time off. If you take time off, you're obviously not gaining, you're just losing, which is not at all what we want. So very important to stray away from injuring yourself. It's very, very important for a lot of reasons. I think you could just logically think about the fact that injuring yourself is not good for anything, especially if you want to get to your goal as fast as possible. Now this next one, it's not really a mistake as much as there was no negative really. There was only, if I didn't make this mistake, I would have had a lot of positive, and that was not having a partner. I didn't have a partner in the gym that entire year. I never had a training partner. Now that doesn't have a negative, like I said. There's no downside to not having a partner, but if you have a partner, there's an upside. You can do, training is just better in general when you have someone to train with. Like doing anything with a person that you enjoy being with is just better, obviously, but it also increases your training because a training partner will push you to do better, as well as they can help you be better by doing things like negatives or something like that, which is, let's say you're doing a bench press and you purposely either you do your max or you go over your max and you have them lift it up and then you drop it as slow as possible, because in a concentric movement or a stretch, the muscle is mostly broken down in that part of the movement. So having the ability to have a training partner help you with something like a negative is just really beneficial in a lot of ways. But just having a training partner to help push you and make you better is just not important, but I think it's a really good thing to have and to help you a lot. Just a good crutch, I'd say. Not really a mistake, but I would definitely recommend finding a training partner if you don't have one. It makes it a lot more fun and enjoyable, and yeah, that's really it. But the next thing, I hear this one on probably every single video I watch, and I tried to make this my top 5 different than other people's, because when you watch other people's, they all say the same thing. They're like, oh, I didn't eat enough food, or when I went on a cut, I do it wrong, or something. They just all say the same thing, and it's because they made this video in particular way down the line. They did it after like 10 years instead of at the very beginning. They could easily pick out very specific mistakes that they made and then list them. So I tried to make this video as different as theirs as possible, but this one is just universal. Everyone thinks this, and yeah, it's thinking supplements were going to be magic. In the very beginning of my training, I bought protein, I bought BCAAs, I bought pre-workout. Now those things, BCAAs are absolutely garbage. I'll probably make a video on it in the future, but just to break it down, protein is amino acids, BCAAs are amino acids. Just double taking them makes no sense, when you could just take protein and save your money on the BCAAs to put into having more protein. And protein is better because there's more of it in it. Like, it's just, I'll make a video on it sometime later. Pre-workout isn't exactly bad, it's not exactly good. I got addicted to it, unfortunately, over last summer, I believe, and it sucked a lot, but it does feel pretty awesome, so that's good. But just don't think that they're going to be some magic thing. Like, you don't need a protein shake to build muscle. It helps you a lot, it does, it helps you a lot, but it isn't going to be the reason you put on muscle. Getting your protein from whole foods, such as things like eggs, chicken, beef, any meat really, I don't know why I started listing meats, but any meat really, would be way better than just getting it from a protein shake, because you get micros with those other meats. Things like vitamin D, magnesium, potassium, things like that, that really help your body just be as optimal as possible and allow you to build muscle as good as you possibly can, as well as increasing testosterone because you eat saturated fats from the meat, as well as vitamin D, like I said, and zinc and things like that. So that's really all I got for the top 10 or top 5 mistakes I made when I first joined the gym. I would, since the gyms are opening up, this is why I made the video, the gyms are opening up, try to, if you're new or you're just going back to the gym after a layoff of not very long you were at the gym, do not make these mistakes, especially the really bad ones like injuring yourself and not learning enough, really, because if you don't know enough, you're probably going to injure yourself. That's probably why I injured myself doing stupid things like going for maxes and ego lifting. So those are important ones, but lesser things like not having a partner, you don't really need to worry about that. I just put it in as like having a partner is good. It's not exactly not bad, but just having it is better. But yeah, that's really all I got. You know the drill. If you like the video, subscribe, like the video. And I'm going to double upload today. I'm making a video on Athlean X and his fake weight scandal or whatever. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you in the next one.